I've got 99 problems and Syndicate is all of them. I've quite literally seen Syndicate have issues with everything. I'm still running into issues small and large. But let's give Syndicate the benefit of the doubt. The game was unveiled only several months before release, was barely promoted and likely forced out to its release date just before Mass Effect 3. All bad ideas which led to poor sales and the game not deserving even one single game update to patch the problems. So here I'll continue with that noise. Some problems you can avoid or work around, others just deal with it. Now, just a few things to note before I continue. Bugs and issues that have to do with things relating to stats and numbers generally has to do with however it is the game communicates with the server, sending and receiving info from console to server, and rewriting save information on the server. So I may restate some things multiple times. The only help you can give yourself here, which isn't a guarantee, is a solid internet connection when you play the co-op. Most of the issues that occur while playing are only solved when exiting the current stage. Some relating to individual players can be solved from the player being downed and then revived. And the other note is I won't always have video proof to accompany what I'm currently talking about, as I like to do in all my previous videos. So expect just normal gameplay footage like what you see now, or extra bug footage when I need to fill in some space. Starting off, I would like to talk about the worst bug in the game, which I've talked about in the first two guide videos, and make clearer sense of it here. That is the app token bug, which can make it possible for you to not be able to upgrade all applications for a 100% co-op completion status. App tokens are meant to be obtained only one time per stage per difficulty. When all stages show a star for difficulty completion, you cannot earn any more app tokens. You are also meant to earn the exact number of app tokens you need to fully purchase and upgrade all applications. This means there will be a point where you cannot earn any more app tokens. So it's pretty scary to have a bug based around this, but ease up knowing that not many players run into this. Apparently the last player I was with that had this bug happen to them claims the game at some point in time locked up an app upgrade he already purchased. His screen showed that he still needed to spend tokens to unlock it. This player was at that point where he had all the stages completed with all stars for completion awarded and could never get app tokens again, thus making the CEO completion a stolen dream. There is no way to bypass this bug, but fortunately, there is a way to increase your odds against this bug biting you. Well, that is if Syndicate accidentally helps you out by not awarding you for your efforts. Sounds weird I know, but just listen, this is very helpful to you. For most players, often enough the game, again probably from server miscommunication, will not award you for completion stars for completing a stage. It may take multiple tries to complete a stage and get the star completion for whatever difficulty you are going for on a stage. You may not get the stars awarded for these attempts, but you will still get app tokens, and that's the awesome part about this. Due to the information regarding stage difficulty completion not being recorded, and that shows from the lack of stars, each time you replay a stage without stars, you will keep getting app tokens until the stars are registered. With this being known, always replay a stage and get more app tokens. Even if you have to do it a lot, replaying stages is nothing to get mad about. Also make sure to play all stages starting with normal difficulty going on up to expert difficulty. If you skip difficulties, you get awarded app tokens for all previous difficulties as well. This is cool and all, but it will limit you from potentially getting even more app tokens. So don't let other players carry you through higher difficulties before beating the lower ones. This could hurt you in the end. Also be mindful of other players you are currently with and communicate to find out if everyone is getting stars or not so you can replay stages when you need to. There's one weird thing about this issue of no stars showing. You can exit the co-op or the game and return to find the stars there. So it's as if the info saved but took the scenic route to your server profile. You don't want to do this so you can get the maximum amount of tokens by having to replay stages. Doing the above steps isn't a guarantee to avoid the bug, but at least it increases your odds to fight it with the bonus app tokens you will have. Now, in no order whatsoever, there's the infamous briefcase glitch nearly everyone will run into at least once. Any briefcase style item, be it mission related or the optional UGV ammo, can get stuck to your player when you first pick it up or when you try to drop it or insert it into the dropship or UGV. The case getting stuck to you hinders you in a huge way. Once it's stuck to your player, any action to release the case causes you to freeze in place. You will only be able to stand still and fire your weapons from there. There are a few ways to handle this situation. If you are downed and then revived, you can continue movement as normal even though the case is still stuck to you. Just don't try to drop the case again or freezing in place will continue. Since for console players, reloading is the same button as dropping the case, you can still reload just fine as that is a quick button press and not a hold as it is to drop or deposit the case. To completely get rid of the case, you would have to leave the stage and rejoin. That's only recommended if a player is not the host, since the host leaving will quit everything else for all players. A positive about the case being stuck for players on stages like Mozambique, Colorado, and Northern Territories, where cases are needed to advance the mission, it is possible to keep returning the same case to the dropship as long as you are repetitively downed. Seeing as we are talking about the cases, other issues you can run into with them involve them going into the floor where you can't see them or retrieve them, only showing a mission icon where one is. You can also see ones that were dropped by other players but you cannot pick them up. as if they became a static piece of the environment. You can, however, see another case elsewhere and possibly pick that one up instead to continue the mission. Next up, invites to join a syndicate can be bugged. This is when too many invites sent out to players aren't answered and are left pending. On the sender's end, once bugged, you appear to still be sending invites, just the player on the receiving end won't get anything or see the notification a syndicate invite was received. So be sure to send invites to someone that says they will join. If pending invites are accepted or declined, you will now have that many total awarded back to you to send out at one time. As you can see, this next issue is rather cool looking. Your weapons can sometimes be invisible. Generally, this has happened if you pick a weapon up off the floor or from a locker, but I'm not sure if that's the only cause of it. From here on, I'll have invisible clips of the Kusanagi ACR-10, grenade, minigun, and laser coil. And to go with that, I've had this issue of my gun being stuck sideways. It somehow got this way from the animation not switching back from the running animation. Next, I've always missed recording this one. Sometimes a player's health bar remains stuck blue just after being healed. This can only hinder getting bonuses, so is more of a problem when trying to get savior bonus for a challenge. A well-known issue among PS3 players is the autosave freeze. This one occurs when research completes, a blueprint token notification pops up and saves, and when trophies unlock. The issue will first start occurring once your syndicate becomes 4 or more players. The issue is also somehow tied to the game servers because if you exit the co-op and enter the single player campaign, you are still connected to the game server and every checkpoint autosave there will also temporarily freeze the game up. And randomly for me recently, I had autosave freezes in the co-op when just killing certain enemies for the first time in that session. At least that's what it appeared. This might have to do with the next issue, which has become a plague for me and causes me to not always be able to play Syndicate on my main PSN account. This problem started for me recently, and so far I've never known anyone to have this issue. This is what it looks like. When I log in and I get into the co-op menu, I just can't go any further. I see everyone has the same offline status and I can't swap around the menus. The only button press that will do anything is a PlayStation button to access the XMB to exit the game, to which my system restarts itself. I've tried everything from redoing game installs and save file swaps. I think it's just some unique issue with the server in my account. It's quite random when I sign in if the game will let me play. The odd thing is I have 3 PS3 consoles here and some days only one of them works to connect and other days none work. Typically, if I successfully connect and can browse the co-op menus and play, once I go back to the main menu and then back into the co-op, the issue begins again and I can't do anything until another day. Since this issue started happening to me, only one day everything seemed back to normal. This game is driving me nuts. Next is an issue players sometimes get, and I experienced when having Wi-Fi issues one day. That is having all but one of my challenges' stats reset. The challenge that remained complete with stats was executions. Oddly enough, this recently happened to me on Xbox 360, except it was the opposite with only my executions challenge resetting. My internet was fine that day, so it just goes to show how poor communication between console and game server can be. Challenges being reset drops your co-op completion percent back down, so you will have to complete them again. Next up is 2 issues for 2 maps. China can sometimes have no enemies load into the last 2 checkpoints, or just a few enemies in one of them. Depending on your situation, you may not be able to complete this stage since its finish screen triggers after the key targets are dead. If any enemies are around and capable of being killed, do your best to kill them and it can maybe trigger more enemies so you can complete the stage. Scandinavia is known to have the second to last checkpoint, shown here, last forever. The doors at the end may not open and you will just face infinite waves of enemies. We've tried dying and restarting, but the problem had persisted. If you get enemies dropping down from the ceiling on occasion, you are in good shape to be able to complete this area. You can kinda tell when the same old thing keeps happening. On Expert, this room will be longer, so don't get impatient too soon and quit. Moving on, I've rarely seen this one, so I haven't captured it, but sometimes after a player is revived, they come back to their feet but look like they're still downed and act it too. I can't remember if every time it was the same per player, but the last time it happened with someone, they were invincible. Similarly to this, we've had agents be down but still standing in place, such as this agent which exploded while he was standing. Other gun and weapon issues are as follows. On a rare occurrence, when getting near an ammo box where it opens up for you, sometimes a gun can drop out of it and sit on top of the box, somehow blocking you from filling up ammo. I've seen this happen with the CQ-11 shotgun as well. Sometimes your total ammo carried is decreased slightly after filling up from an ammo box compared to when you first started a stage. And once, I've had grenades keep picking up into my inventory. Here it is shown that I had 7 total. 2 were then thrown out and I could pick up another 2 to have 7 again. I wish that this had happened while Hurt Locker farming to see what that number could have gotten up to. Now there are 2 last things I want to quickly talk about, neither of which are detrimental in any way. The first being once you start up Syndicate and reach the main menu, if you go to your player statistics page, you won't see stats for anything co-op related. This makes sense since you haven't signed into the co-op servers yet, but I'm calling this a bug because I see it as something that would have been fixed if the game had ever received an update. The second thing to mention is the weapon research and application research tabs under the agent menu. They will both have these notification icons after you 100% all your research. It may fool you once, but not fool you twice. And to wrap this up, I guess those are all I feel are worth mentioning or ones I remembered or felt like jotting down in my notes. There's still the typical issues in Syndicate that any game can have, like texture glitches or clipping through a game wall and not being able to return back and play to finish the stage. Such a shame since Syndicate is some of the best co-op I've ever played. Any future Syndicate videos will be gameplay tips per stage and speedruns, which I'm really looking forward to. I just need to sort out my busy schedule. As always, thanks for watching anything Syndicate I do.